There are moments in life when you stumble upon something that doesn't feel random. You were not guided here by coincidence, Scorpio. You were summoned by a force older than time itself, by the whisper of karma that has been following you silently, faithfully watching and waiting. So before we begin, I invite you to pause. Close your eyes just for a moment. Take a breath so deep it reaches your bones, and exhale, like you're letting go of a truth you've carried alone for far too long. Because today, Scorpio, is not about the pain. It's about the return. There's a reason you've been feeling things shifting in the silence. A reason your dreams have felt heavier. A reason your spirit so steady, so quiet, has started to tremble at night without understanding why. Something in the universe is stirring not against you, but for you. You may not have said a word. You may have never told anyone about the betrayal that cracked your soul open. But Scorpio karma doesn't need your words. It already knows your story. And what karma remembers, it never forgets. They thought they could walk away without consequence. They believed silence meant safety. They assumed the universe was asleep. But the universe doesn't sleep. It watches with eyes far beyond this world. And now, my dear Scorpio, it moves. This is not a message of revenge. This is not about punishment. This is sacred justice. This is what happens when a heart so full of love finally lets go of trying to be understood and becomes a force too divine to be denied. Today's message is not for everyone, but if your heart just skipped a beat reading these words, if you've been holding your breath without realizing it, then this message was always meant for you. Because what you're about to hear is not just an explanation, it's confirmation that you were never alone, that your loyalty was never wasted, and that the energy they once took for granted is coming back, multiplied, purified, and unstoppable. The sacred wheel has turned, Scorpio, and it's turning in your favor. So stay with me, because this is not just a video, this is your karmic return. Part 1, the sacred pain only Scorpio understands. There are wounds that scream for the world to hear, and then there are the wounds of Scorpio. Silent, sacred, invisible to most, and yet they leave scars that reshape the soul forever. You see, when Scorpio is hurt, it doesn't make noise. You don't break down in public. You don't collapse into someone's arms looking for sympathy. You simply withdraw, not out of fear or shame, but because something ancient inside of you already knows. True transformation happens in silence. You once gave someone a kind of love that wasn't casual. It wasn't performative. It was holy. You didn't just open your heart. You gave them access to the deepest chambers of your spirit. You let them see your shadow. You let them touch your light. And what did they do? They treated your love like a game. They took your stillness for indifference, your patience for weakness, your loyalty for foolishness. But they were wrong, because Scorpio doesn't forget. Scorpio doesn't retaliate with petty fire. You absorb, you observe, you evolve, and all the while, the universe is listening. Every moment you chose peace instead of revenge recorded. Every time you cried alone rather than shaming them publicly remembered. Every ounce of love you gave when you had nothing left seen. The world may not have noticed, but karma did. You may have felt alone in your pain, but pain leaves an imprint on the cosmic field. You were never alone, and your silence was never empty. They thought they got away with it. They moved on as if the damage didn't matter. But you, Scorpio, were never just another chapter in their story. You were a soul contract, a mirror, a teacher. And when they broke your heart, they also activated something far greater than themselves, a spiritual rebalancing. What they didn't realize is this: when a Scorpio finally lets go, the universe begins to respond, not with noise, not with chaos, but with sacred precision. So if your heart still hurts, know this: you were not weak for staying, you were wise for leaving. Because letting go of someone who shattered your trust isn't an ending, it's a cosmic beginning. And the pain they caused, it wasn't wasted. It was woven into the wheel that now turns. Life lesson: not every wound needs to be exposed to be healed. Sometimes the greatest strength is found in sacred silence, and sometimes the deepest karmic justice is not in watching someone fall, but in rising so quietly that the universe itself begins to whisper, "Now it's time." Part 2. Karma moves without sound. Karma doesn't announce itself with lightning. It doesn't knock on your door with drama or spectacle. It moves like the wind in the middle of the night, invisible, untraceable, but undeniably present. Scorpio, you may not realize this yet, but the very moment you surrendered that pain, the very instant you said in your soul, "I release this," the sacred wheel began to turn, not in anger, not in vengeance, but in balance. You didn't ask for justice, you didn't scream for retribution, and that's exactly why it's coming. Because karma isn't punishment, karma is precision. And when someone betrays a Scorpio, they don't just hurt a person. They disrupt an ancient energetic order. They took your honesty and twisted it. They took your loyalty and buried it beneath their selfishness. They took the light you offered and tried to use it to fuel their shadow. But Scorpio, your soul recorded everything. And so did the universe. This is why, lately, you may have felt something you couldn't explain. A strange lightness in your chest. Moments of peace that seem to come out of nowhere. Dreams where they appear but something feels different, colder, emptier. That's not your imagination. That's the karmic echo beginning its return. You don't need to seek revenge because the energy they released is already finding its way back to them. And how it returns, rarely the way people expect. A door they thought would open, won't. A relationship they thought would save them, will crack. A joy they once took for granted will feel hollow. Not because you wished them harm, but because the energy they planted must now be harvested. And you are no longer entangled in it. You're no longer absorbing their chaos, no longer carrying the emotional weight they refused to acknowledge. You are finally standing in a place of spiritual detachment. And from this higher ground, you can see it clearly. Justice isn't loud, it's sacred, and it is unfolding right now. You may never hear them admit what they did. They may never offer you the apology you deserve. But the universe is not in the business of forgetting. And you, Scorpio, are not in the business of waiting. You're moving forward, and that alone shifts the entire energetic dynamic. So, if you've felt an odd calm lately, a quiet sense that something is happening beneath the surface, you're right. Because when karma moves, it does not need an audience. It only needs truth. And your truth is more than enough. Life lesson. Karma doesn't arrive when we scream for it. It arrives when we no longer need it to prove anything. Because true power is knowing that justice is unfolding even when no one else can see it. Part 3. When Scorpio lets go, the cosmos reacts. There's a silence that only a Scorpio can create, and it's not the kind that begs for attention. It's the kind that shifts timelines. Because when a Scorpio lets go, the universe doesn't just notice, it responds. You see, most people have no idea what it truly takes for a Scorpio to walk away. They think it happens like it does for others in a fit of rage, in a burst of emotion, in the middle of an argument. But no, Scorpio's departure is never about drama. It's about divine timing. You held on longer than you should have. You gave more than anyone ever saw. You stayed not because you were naive, but because you believed in healing. You believed in them, even when they didn't believe in you. And then, something shifted. It didn't happen with a scream. It happened in the quiet. In that sacred moment when your soul whispered, "Enough!" And just like that, the bond began to break. They didn't even notice at first. They thought you were still there. Still waiting. Still hoping. But what they didn't understand is that once Scorpio lets go energetically, the door doesn't just close, it vanishes. You no longer dream of them with longing. You no longer replay the conversations. You no longer check the places you know they still visit. And the moment you stopped reaching for them, the universe reached for you. Because Scorpio's detachment is not indifference, it's transformation, it's alchemy, it's the death of illusion and the birth of power. And while they may still believe you're one phone call away, that your silence is temporary, that your heart is still accessible, what they don't know is that the very laws of energy have already shifted. You no longer orbit their chaos. You've become your own gravitational force. And everything they once took for granted, your patience, your empathy, your presence, is now out of reach. Not because you turned bitter, but because you finally turned back toward yourself. And that decision, Scorpio, echoes across dimensions. Life lesson. When you stop waiting for someone to recognize your worth, you begin radiating it. And in that quiet, steady radiance, the universe stops protecting them and starts honoring you. Part 4. The breaking of the energetic cord. Some bonds don't exist in the physical world. You can't see them, touch them, or explain them, but you feel them. So deeply they haunt you even in sleep. That's the nature of the energetic cord, Scorpio. And when you love, truly love, you create one every time. Not with everyone, but with the ones who entered your spirit and left footprints on the floor of your soul. You know the ones you couldn't stop thinking about. The ones who invaded your dreams long after they were gone. The ones who hurt you and still lingered like a shadow on your chest. They weren't there physically, but their energy was wrapped around your being, and you, ever loyal, ever powerful, carried it. Long after they forgot, long after they moved on, long after they stopped deserving it. You see, Scorpio, your love is not casual. It's ritual. It's spiritual. When you love someone, you merge mind, heart, body, soul. And when that connection is broken without honor, the energetic thread doesn't just dissolve. It tightens. It wraps itself around your thoughts, around your intuition, around your emotional clarity. It whispers, maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll finally see. Maybe this was meant to be. But you've reached the edge of that story now, and the thread it's unraveling. Not because they came back with an apology, not because they finally recognized your worth, but because you have. Something has changed, and if you listen closely, you'll feel it. You don't ache like you used to. You don't wait for a message that will never come. You no longer fantasize about closure because you already gave it to yourself. This is what it looks like when the energetic cord finally breaks. You remember them, but there is no sting. You hear their name, but it no longer makes your heart skip. You see their face in your dreams, but you're no longer reaching for them. In the deepest chambers of your soul, you've returned to yourself. And when Scorpio takes their light back, the cord that once bound you turns to dust. Life lesson. The strongest endings don't come with a final conversation. They come in the silence when your soul decides it no longer belongs to the one who abandoned it. Letting go isn't forgetting, it's reclaiming. And when the energetic thread breaks, so does the cycle. Part 5. The signs that karma has arrived. When karma arrives, it doesn't come with thunder. It comes with whispers. It slips into the cracks of the soul. It speaks in silence. It moves through the unseen. And Scorpio, because you are attuned to the invisible, you're the first to feel it. You've likely already begun sensing the signs. Not loud, not obvious, but strange, precise, undeniable. You're walking down the street and a feather-white, perfect, untouched lands directly in your path. You're thinking of them, and suddenly a song you haven't heard in years plays in a random cafe. You wake from a dream, not haunted, not crying, but calm, because in the dream they came back, but they looked lost, empty. These are not coincidences, these are messages. Messages from the energetic realm, from the universe, from your guides, from your higher self. They are telling you it has begun. The return is in motion, and though you may not see it yet with your eyes, your soul can already feel the shift. You're lighter. Your chest no longer carries that familiar tightness. Your mind is no longer spinning with what-ifs. Because the karmic scales, once tipped so unfairly against you, are finally leveling. And what's happening on their side? Restlessness, doors closing, relationships fracturing, opportunities that once flowed now suddenly evaporating. They won't understand why. But you will, because you remember what it felt like to sit in silence asking the stars why, to cry alone wondering if the pain would ever end. Now it's their soul that is being summoned, to reckon, to reflect, to feel what you once carried, not because you cursed them, not because you wanted revenge, but because the energy must return to its source. This is the law of the unseen, of divine justice. And you, Scorpio, are the proof that one can survive betrayal without becoming bitter. You're the reason karma knows exactly where to go, because you walked away in grace, not with rage, not with curses, but with dignity. That's why the universe moves in your favor now. That's why the signs are appearing. That's why the dreams are shifting. That's why the weight is lifting. Because what was once stuck has finally been released. And now what was yours is returning. Peace, power, alignment. Life lesson. Karma isn't just about retribution, it's about restoration. When you no longer chase justice, you become the magnet for it. And when it begins to arrive, you won't need proof. You'll feel it in your bones. Part 6. Peace is the final victory. There is a kind of victory that no one sees. No audience, no applause, no dramatic end scene. Just peace. And Scorpio, that is the most powerful kind of justice you will ever receive. Because there was a time maybe not long ago when your soul ached for them to see what they did. You wanted them to understand, to acknowledge, to finally carry the weight of their choices. But now you don't need that. Now you're not waiting for an apology. You're not craving validation. You've stopped trying to rewrite the ending, and instead, you've chosen to write a new beginning. That, Scorpio, is your liberation, because true healing doesn't come when they finally say, "I'm sorry." It comes when you say, "I'm done waiting." Not with anger, not with resentment, but with a calm so sacred, it echoes across dimensions. That's the gift the universe gives to Scorpio, not revenge, but peace that cannot be disturbed. You've seen now what they truly were. You've seen what you gave, and you've seen how it wasn't received. But you've also seen something else, your own power. You've realized that even in the silence, you held space for love. Even when abandoned, you did not abandon yourself. You are not the one who left the bond tainted. You are the one who carried it with honor until it broke under the weight of their carelessness. And now that sacred silence you once feared, it no longer holds pain. It holds clarity. You're not looking back, not hoping they'll return, not wondering if they regret it, because it no longer matters. They've become a past version of a world you no longer belong to. You've outgrown the storm. You've stepped into stillness. And in that stillness, you found peace. And peace is what they'll never take from you again. That is your final justice. That is your soul's reward. Life lesson. Peace is the power they never expected you to claim, because they thought breaking you was the end of your story. But it was only the end of their chapter. And now you write the rest in a language they never learned: silence, strength, sovereignty. Final part. The reward for the soul that let go. Scorpio, you've walked through fire. You've held the storm in your chest and still managed to breathe. You've cried into the night asking the stars why it had to hurt so much, and yet you never let the pain make you cruel. You let it shape you. You let it teach you. You let it burn away everything that wasn't real, and in doing so, you uncovered your soul's truest form. Now the universe sees that, and the sacred reward begins. This isn't a prize you chased, it's a return you've earned. Because when a soul lets go with love instead of hatred, when a heart chooses peace over punishment, when someone like you walks away from the pain without becoming the pain, something miraculous happens. The energy you once gave away starts to come back to you, not in pieces, but in blessings. Here are the 3 gifts now returning to your life. 1. Magnetism without effort. You no longer chase. You no longer convince anyone to see your value. And that Scorpio makes you magnetic. You'll notice people are drawn to you, not for what you do, but for who you are now. You radiate self-respect. You embody sacred detachment, and those who are meant for your path will feel it and follow. You attract not chaos, but alignment. 2. Intuition, sharpened by the fire. Your soul senses are no longer clouded by longing. The fog has lifted. And now your intuition is clearer, stronger, even prophetic at times. You'll just know what someone's intentions are. You'll feel what's coming before it arrives. You'll sense who is real and who is still running from their shadow. This gift doesn't come from power. It comes from pain that was transformed. Now you walk with a wisdom that cannot be learned in books, only lived through experience. 3. A new kind of love. Not all rewards are spiritual. Some are deeply human. And now that you've reclaimed your light, you're ready for a love that doesn't require sacrifice. A love that doesn't ask you to shrink, compromise, or bleed. This love, whether romantic, platonic, or divine, will be based on mutual honor. Two souls who have both done their inner work. No chasing, no fixing, only choosing. You no longer confuse intensity with destiny. Now you know if it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. Life lesson. Letting go wasn't a loss, it was a passage. You didn't break, you shed. And in doing so, you stepped into the most sacred form of power, the power that doesn't seek to control others, but to return fully to yourself. You are no longer the one who begs for understanding. You are the one who walks in peace so radiant it rewrites the ending. Closing words. If this message spoke to your soul, if you feel lighter, clearer, freer, then you're already living the reward. Let the universe hear you. Leave a final declaration in the comments. I don't carry their energy anymore. I carry my light. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the Path to Buddha Wisdom, so we can continue walking this sacred journey together. Because Scorpio, you didn't just survive the fire. You became the light that guides others through it. And that will always be more powerful than anything they ever did to you.